The Sangha is invited to come back to our breathing, so our collective energy of mindfulness will bring us together as an organism, flowing as a river, with no more separation. Let the whole Sangha breathe as one body, chant as one body, listen as one body, transcending the boundaries of a delusive self, liberating us from the superiority complex, the inferiority complex, and the equality complex.
May the day be well and the night be well. May the midday hour bring happiness too. In every minute and every second, may the day and night be well. By the blessing of the triple gems, may all things be protected and safe. May all beings born in each of the four ways live in a land of purity. May all in the three realms be born upon lotus thrones. May countless wandering souls realize the three virtuous positions of the Bodhisattva path. May all living beings with grace and ease fulfill the Bodhisattva stages. The countenance of the world honored one, like a full moon, or like the orb of the sun, shines with the light of clarity. A halo of wisdom spreads in every direction, enveloping all with love and compassion, joy and equanimity. Namo Shakyamuni Buddhaya. Namo Shakyamuni Buddhaya. Namo I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. I take refuge in the Dharma, the way of understanding and of love. I take refuge in the Sangha, the community that lives in harmony and awareness. Dwelling in the refuge of Buddha, I clearly see the path of light and beauty in the world. Dwelling in the refuge of Dharma, I learn to open many doors on the path of transformation. Dwelling in the refuge of Sangha, shining light that supports me, keeping my practice free of obstruction. Taking refuge in the Buddha in myself, I aspire to help all people recognize their own awakened nature, realizing the mind of love. Taking refuge in the together on the path of liberation. Taking refuge in the Sangha in myself, I aspire to help all people build thoughtful communities, to embrace all beings and support their transformation.
I can help you to put my volume up. If you don't want to come over like yesterday, you can come over here. A little bit closer. Come here, come here. You're ready to listen to the bell? You're ready to listen to the bell? Yeah? We can close our eyes. And maybe we can put our hands on our belly. And as the bell is invited, we can see what happens with our belly, rising and falling. Today I have a story to tell you. I hope you can understand what I say, because my voice is like, when the boys are like 13 years old, your voice changes, right? It cracks. My voice is getting like that too. It's a story that I've heard from a very old, wise man one day. And I like to keep it in my heart and to tell it to people that I meet. And the title of the story is The Peaceful Warrior and the Magic Water. So it's the story of a little boy. His name is Tony. And he's maybe 11 years old. And in the town that he lives, it's a very beautiful town and a lot of harmony. He lives with his family, his parents and siblings. And they are a very happy family. And with his friends, he also has a very good relationship with his friends. And he lives a pretty happy life. He's a pretty happy little boy. But one day, he doesn't know why, everything starts to change. His parents start to argue together a lot, fight, and yell in the house. Every time mom and dad come back, there's always a lot of tension in the house. I don't know if that ever happened in your house, but I remember when I was a child, sometimes my parents fight so much, and I don't really know what to do. I don't really know what to do. I remember my mother, she used to buy the very cheap plates because we know that they're all gonna get smashed a lot, you know. And inside of me, I feel, very helpless. I don't know what to do, and usually my siblings also start crying, and I feel as an older sister, I have to take care of my little brother and sister. So I think Tony is feeling a little bit like that. He doesn't know what's happening. And one day he feels so sad that he decides to go for a little walk. And there's this one spot he really likes, is by the river. Now we have to remember that the story is happening in the winter time. So it's a lot of snow and everything is very silent. So silent. You don't hear anything. There's no birds, no animals. It's very cold. So little Tony is going by the river, and he sits by the river. And there's snow everywhere, and even a little bit of ice. And then he sits there and he wonders, what's happening at home? Why is it that everything changed and I don't know what to do? I'm not happy anymore. And you know what happened when he asked that? You know what he sees on the river? Something very strange for winter, something you will never see in winter. No, not a fish. He sees peach blossoms, flowers floating down the river. So he's so surprised. It's like, but it's winter. How come there's peach blossoms there? So he has an idea. He decides he wants to go and find out why is it that there's, and where it is that they have peach blossom in the winter. So that's what he does. He goes home, pack a few things, maybe granola bars and a warm jacket, and then he goes off.
So where the peach blossoms came from.
Exactly.
And where is that part of the world?
Exactly. So he decides to walk along the river, right? So he will go all the way back to the source of the river. And after a very, very, very long walk, then he arrives at the mountain, a very big mountain. And he knows that usually the source of the river is on top of the mountain, right? So he starts climbing the mountain. And when he arrives at the top of the mountain, he arrives at the most beautiful place he's never been in his entire life. There's a big, big, big pool of water, very clear water. And the bed of the pool, there's a lot of little pebbles, shiny pebbles of all colors. And around the pool, there's a lot of peach trees, all blooming. And the petals fall into the pool and then go down the stream on the river. So he knows where it is. But after all this walk, he feels a little bit tired, right? He's been walking many days. So he decides to first drink a little bit of water. And the water feels so fresh, so sweet when he drinks it. And then he goes for a little nap because he's so tired. Now, this mountain is not any kind of mountain. It's kind of like a magical mountain with magical people in there, gods and goddesses, fairies living on the mountain. And he doesn't know, but the water that he's been drinking is also magical water. So as he's sleeping, something quite amazing happens. The water starts to change all the cells of his body. Every single cell, he becomes completely new. He has a new liver, he has a new nose, new tongue, new ears, new everything. So amazing. All his cells are changed. And as he's sleeping, there's a little goddess that comes by. And the goddess, you know what she does? She goes into the water, pick up 2 pebbles, 2 green pebbles. I think they're coming to check the microphone. Thank you. Thank you. And she takes 2 green pebbles. And you know what she does with it? She goes to Tony and she put it in his eyes. It's a very painless operation. Yeah, and the 2 pebbles become his own eyes. So as he wakes up and he looks at the trees, he looks at the sky, and everything is so new. Everything looks new. This is also a new microphone, so we don't know how to use it very well. Everything looks so new, as if it's the first time he's seen blue sky, as if it's the first time he sees the trees. And when we start breathing, and it's like the first time he's taking a breath, because his lungs are new and his nose is new, remember? Everything becomes very new. He starts to walk, and then it feels it's the first time he's been touching the earth.
2 things. 1, doesn't he breathe in his sleep?
He did, but he didn't remember. Now he remembers it.
Also, he was touching the floor. And he didn't.
Same thing. Yeah. So he feels like a new person. And then the gods and goddesses from the mountain arrive and tell him, you see, you are a new person. Everything that is around you is new. And with this, you can go back home. With the new water, the water that you have drank, you can go back home and you give this water to all the people in your family. And all the people in your family will feel the same way that you do. They will also see things new. They will also see each other new, as new people. And he's a little bit afraid. He doesn't really know whether that's going to work or not. But the gods and goddesses say, don't worry, we're going to give you a bottle. And with that, you just give your family and your whole village to drink. And then you will be able to also make them feel the way that you have felt. And the happiness and the harmony and the joy in the family will come back. And after he heard that, I think the little Tony, he has also faith in the gods and goddesses. He knows that they're saying right. And that he has experienced also that this water is very magical for him. So he goes back home and he gives water to his family to drink, his mom and dad. And his mom and dad stop arguing, see each other with new eyes. They say new, beautiful, loving words to each other. And slowly, slowly, as everyone is drinking the water, the peace and the harmony in the house is also coming back. And all in the village as well. This is the story I wanted to tell you, but it doesn't stop here. Because I want you to ask the brothers and sisters that take care of the children program, and maybe each other also, what do you think that water is? What do you think this water, the magical water? It's not to answer now. So everyone can also think about it, and they can have different answers. But you can share among yourself and maybe ask Sister Thang Nghiem and Sister Dai Nghiem, what do you think this water is? Is that okay? Yeah. So maybe now we can listen to one sound of the small bell. And as we listen to the bell, we can stand up together and then bow to the Sangha before going out. You can stand up. Don't forget your hat, huh? Dear Thai and dear brothers and sisters, dear family, Sister Mai Nghiem, she just told me the microphone made this noise because I speak too fast. It's going to help me to slow down. When I hear it, it's going to be like a bell of mindfulness. It's so wonderful to be sitting here with all of you and to be practicing together. As we were walking with one of my sisters this morning, I was seeing all the people, and it felt like people were talking or enjoying the sunshine, lying on the earth, and it felt so peaceful. The energy of the monastery felt so peaceful this morning. So thank you for bringing your peace and offering your peace to us and to this place. It stays here, and it's something that we need very much, this peace, to find in ourselves and to share it together. When we look at the world now, and when we look at our own heart, when we look at maybe our family, our relationships, when we look at the way Mother Earth is now, maybe we see some suffering. Maybe we see some lack of peace. Maybe we see some lack of harmony. We feel some lack of harmony inside. Some lack of freedom and of true happiness. And often I think of all the great people on this planet that have helped us to go towards what we want, towards this peace and this harmony, like Martin Luther King or Thai or teacher or Gandhi, people like that. And we all agree with what they say. We all agree and we all feel that way, that we know that it's not by being more angry that we will lessen anger. It's not by creating more violence that we lessen violence. But it's through our peace and our love for oneself and others. And yet, even though we know it and we have all these beautiful ideals and wishes, but very often is not happening. And I often ask myself why. Why is it that even though all the ideals are there and all the beautiful wishes are there, but what is it that make me unable to find that and to touch that? And I feel more and more is that is this concrete practices that we need, so that it's not only ideas, but that it's something that comes back to the core of our being, to our everyday actions. And I feel it's the beauty of having a retreat like that, so that we are creating these moments of peace, that we are creating this moment of harmony in ourselves. As we eat together, as we walk together, as we breathe together. And an image that has been very present and very alive for me in my monastic life, I think since the very beginning, is the image of a revolution. And I don't know if it's coming to touch my French ancestors, I'm not sure, but it's something that is very alive, this idea of we see there is something that is happening and that that feels like there is suffering in it, and we want to change. We want to change it. And the word, there's a very beautiful word when we study the Buddhist psychology, it's Ashraya Paravriti. It's kind of a difficult word, but I really like the translation of it. That is so strong in me. It's Ashraya. It means at the base, and Paravriti. It means revolution or transformation. So to transform something at the base. A revolution, and revolution is turning away and going in a different direction. And when I look at myself and at my practice, and I see this is all the things that are difficult inside of myself that I want to change, is this thinking in a different way about myself. Or maybe I have ideas about my happiness and my suffering, and how do I turn in the other direction? How do I become this peaceful warrior inside that can make a revolution, not out there in the street, chopping people's heads like we did in the past in France, but inside. How do I change my way of handling my anger? How do I change my way of dealing with my fears? How do I make the revolution inside of dealing with my anxieties and my feeling separated from other people and from myself? And I feel very fortunate that the Buddha and the ancestral teachers, they kind of like gave us maps, like things like that. I feel it's really like a map, like the 16 exercises of mindful breathing that we have been looking at, things that help us to find our way home. And another map that I really like is the Noble Eightfold Path. So I know that many of us, we are very familiar with the Noble Eightfold Path, but I will still go and write it there. So maybe I will start with right livelihood, the kind of life that we would wish to live, this peaceful life, a life that protects the environment, the life that is loving, a life that brings about peace and about joy to our own selves and to our families. please, I or Y? I. And before that is right action. The kind of action very often I see when we are in difficult moments, or if we have peace activists or working for the environment, there's very often this question of what is the right action? What is the right thing to do in this situation? So it's the right action. And right speech before that. What is the right thing to say when we are a teacher, when we are faced with difficult children, when we are a parent? What is the right thing to say? When we are a husband or a wife, or a brother or a sister, what is the right thing to say? Where does it come from? How do I cultivate this right speech? And before the right speech is right thinking. What is the right thought to have? What is as a good citizens on a particular situation? What is how do I make my thinking right in a situation that seems difficult? Not taking sides. And before the right thinking is right view. And this is, for me, this is the part where the revolution is so beautiful. Because when the Buddha talks about right view, he says it's the view that help us to transcend all kind of views. Is very often we think that we are separate from each other, that I'm not the same as my father, that my father's suffering is different from my own suffering, that my mom's joy is different from my own joy, that what is happening to Mother Earth is not happening to me, that is out there and that I'm here, that what is happening to my brother is not what is happening to me, and that creates a whole lot of suffering. But when the feeling of separation is not there anymore, and when we cultivate this right view that we are together, that we are one, that we cannot be separated from one another, that my father's suffering is also my suffering, and that my transformation is also his transformation, then naturally our thinking become right thinking, and our speech become right speech. I'm going to know what to say to my father, and my action will become a right action. And my life slowly will become right livelihood. And before right view, how do I cultivate this right view? Because sometimes I might have a glimpse of it. Okay, yeah, I feel that we are all together. I feel that I'm receiving the air from the trees. But how do we cultivate that? That it's not something that is always there. And before right view, the Buddha said, okay, so we have right concentration. Right view is, we can also say there is insight or understanding of what's happening. And before right concentration, we have right mindfulness. And before right mindfulness, we have right diligence. So the Buddha gives us a pretty clear path, right? That he said if we want to cultivate the right thinking, right speech, and right action in our daily life, we have to have right view. And in order to cultivate this right view, we have to practice mindfulness in our daily lives. And we have to practice concentration to be able to stay with things, not to run away, not to, like Brother Phap Hai was saying on the first day, to really lean against the tree, or to really follow the breath, like Brother Stream was showing us yesterday, to have this concentration on things. That I also like to see as tenderness. You know, if you are, very often our teacher, he gives the example that we, when we have a difficult thing coming up, a difficult emotion coming up, and mindfulness comes and embrace that difficult emotion, anger or something. And we stay with it, like a mother that embraces. And it's the tenderness of the mother also that helps the child to stop crying. I also like to see concentration as a sort of tenderness that helps me stay with what is there, that what is inside of me. And the right diligence is in terms of watering the seeds. What seeds do I water every day? If I know I want to have a particular, I know the direction I want to take. I know I want to go in the direction of peace, of harmony in myself. But if I water all kind of different seeds, that is, if I water the seed of anger all the time, if I water the seed of violence in what I watch, in what I read, then of course I will not go into that direction. So it's to be smart enough to water the thing that we want to see manifest. And I think when I was a child, that was the teaching that was the most alive for me, this thing of watering the seeds, because it's very concrete and very, it's like math. It's like if I want to have love in my life, and if I want to be a loving person, then I have to water the seed of love. And if I want to not have anger, then I shouldn't water the seed of anger. So when we talk about the 4 diligences, there's 4 steps. There's the first one that is not watering the unwholesome seeds. The second one is if the seed of anger has manifested also already in us, or if the negative seed has manifested, we try to help it to go down, to go back. Unwholesome seeds go back. And the third is to water the good seeds. And the fourth is to keep the good seeds with us. So this is another map of how to water the thing that we like to have, all the friends that we like to have in our living rooms. Then we invite them in, and we try to keep them there. Dear brothers and sisters, for the past few days, we also have been looking at the 16 exercise of mindful breathing, and it's sometimes the maps, they can also come together. So I just would like to go quickly over what has been touched the 2 first days. The 4 first exercise is more about the body and the breath. So coming back to the breathing. Breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in, and breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. Being aware of the breath and following the breath all the way through. And being aware of our body and calming, relaxing our body. And this exercise is for, I think for me, deals a lot with also calming the restlessness in our body and in the world that we have now. There's a lot of agitation very often and a lot of tensions. So these 4 exercises is for to really come back. Really come back home and take care of our own physical body first. And yesterday, Brother Stream shared beautifully about the feelings, how to generate joy and happiness in our practice. And we noticed that it's something that is very present in the practice, this generating joy and happiness. The joy is a very big part of the practice. And sometimes it can even take care of the difficult things. I remember having a difficulty sometimes and not wanting to go and put my nose into it, trying to look deeply in them, But sometimes, even though we try to look deeply, but it's more like a brain, I don't know how you call it. It's suffering because it's just the brain trying to figure things out and to have a solution to things. And sometimes I notice that just watering the seed of joy, just seeing all the conditions of happiness that are already here inside of myself and around me is already enough to change the situation. Not having to go put my nose in the mud too much. And also to have enough strength to look at the difficult things when they're coming up. With the 2 last one, Brother Stream was sharing about mental formation and saying, as he said, that we have, that the feelings are also a part of the mental formations. So when a painful feeling come up, to be aware of a painful feeling and how to embrace a painful feeling. So how to suffer in a peaceful way, how to have our suffering become something useful and beneficial. How our teacher very often talks about the art of happiness and the art of suffering. That as a practitioners, we are real artists and we have to learn how to be happy and how to suffer in a way that is helping us, that is not making us drown, but that through our suffering we learn and we cultivate more understanding and more love for ourselves and for the people we live with. And today I'd like to touch some of the 3rd category that is on the mind. And I put on the board, the first one is to be aware of the mind. And when we talk about the mind here is very much the mental formation. So the other mental formations, whether it's our joy, our sadness, our love, our irritation, our stress, all these things that are here with us all the time. So to be aware of them. And then the 10th is to gladdening the mind, make our mind happy. The 11th is to concentrate the mind. And the last is to liberate the mind. And I'd like to share something with you to make it a little bit more concrete. Maybe we can listen to one sound of the bell before. for me, every time I see the different maps, and I like to ask myself, how do I put that into my daily life? How does that apply to my daily joy and difficulties? So that it becomes something that is alive, and it's not only words on a whiteboard, but it's actually a strategy. It's like warriors, they need to have plans, strategies in order to go for battle. And I feel for practitioner and for myself, I also like to have strategies of practice. So to take these things that can sometimes seem very out there, and then to put it back in perspective of my own life and what is happening. So if I take a mental formation that was not very easy for me for a long time, is the mental formation and the feelings that were coming up with my father, and in my relationship with my father. And very often the peaceful warrior, he wants to go out there and save the world and change, have peace on earth and change everything out there to go and save the environment. And we forget about our families. We forget that the first thing that we have to come back to is also ourselves and our families. And the relationship with the parents is the relationship that is so deep and so full of things. Sometimes very beautiful things and very nourishing things, loving things, and sometimes painful things. Yesterday we had a meeting with some Dharma teachers, a group of friends who were sitting together, and one brother was sharing about the wake-up schools and how to train teachers to bring mindfulness into classrooms, right? Brother Stream shared about that yesterday. And how the teachers would have certificates to say that they would be able to go and teach mindfulness, not just read one book and then you're out there teaching. And that part of the certificate should be a letter from the family. And I think this is so smart. It's so beautiful, because it's so crucial, right? Sometimes you can go out there and teach a lot of beautiful things, being very eloquent, but how do you live your daily life at home? This is the luck that we have in the Sangha, that we are reminded all the time. We facilitate things, we organize retreats, give talks and things, but then it's not why people come for retreats. And for me, it's not why I became a nun. It's because outside of the meditation hall, outside of the Dharma hall, you see a community of people practicing together. You see a community of people that are living together and that are loving each other with all their faults and weaknesses and all the differences. And this is what is so beautiful about it. So if we would come and talk and then you see the monastic community or the full community being not so harmonious and yelling at each other, it doesn't make really much sense, and we would not trust what is being shared here. So I like that, to remember that it's good for me to, how am I with my own family? How do I live my life with my brothers and sisters and my blood family? So one thing that was not so easy was my relationship with my father. A mental formation that gave rise to sometimes a lot of fear, feeling not protected, feeling unloved, feeling unsafe sometimes. And it's something that I have been looking at for some time. And not long ago, I wrote to him a letter. And I don't know why, since I arrived in America last October, and many things made me think of him and of the beautiful things that he did as a father for us and for me as his daughter, and how playful he was. He would always play with us. How he taught us so many things. He taught me how to draw, he taught me how to swim, how to be on a bicycle, go out for walks, so many things that he taught me. All his love that he put in his presence, being with us and sharing with us what he liked. So I wrote to him a letter, and the first thing I shared with him is this gratitude I had for all the love that I received from him. And I told him, I guess that if you gave us so much love, it's that you must have received a lot of love from your own parents also. And you know how in the past the children would continue the career of the parents? If your father was a farmer, you would be a farmer. If the father was a doctor or a teacher, you would kind of continue that same career. And so I told him that I want to continue your career too. I want to continue that career of love that you transmitted to us. That was, and for me that was gladdening the mind, my own mind at that moment, and the mind of my father when he would read the letter, to make my mind happy and grateful. And when we have gratitude, when we can express our gratitude, our teacher often say that if you have gratitude, then happiness is there. But it's the moment that we lose our gratitude that our happiness starts to fade away. So gladdening the mind is also gratitude. And then I saw this thing that was still there. And I know there's suffering. And so what do I do with this suffering? And I noticed in Deer Park there's this one person that has the same kind of, he's gone through the same thing my father has gone through, the same life experience. So one day I asked this man I asked him questions with my father in my head. And it was really interesting because he shared with me his suffering. As a child, as a young man, as a man. And when he was sharing, I felt it's like, layers that have been covering your heart, that slowly they were falling. Like scales or armor that have been built, because I was hearing my father, right? I was not only hearing this man, I was hearing my father saying, I suffered. And that was a very powerful experience. Even though I knew that my father had suffered, I knew up here, but to hear it through this man, and to hear it also I could have asked my dad, right? But I was also aware that I was hearing it without that dad and daughter relationship being played at the same time. So my seeds of a wounded child they were not touched because I have no particular relationship with that man, except that he's a brother, but is, very different. So I was hearing my father, but it was not my father. So I could hear it in a very different way. And I was allowing this seed inside of me of love to come up. And it was really a lot of love that I felt at that moment. And for me, it was also this concentration on a particular thing. I knew that I had this difficulty with my father, and I wanted to give the right conditions for this to be transformed. Because I think the peaceful warrior, the first thing that the peaceful warrior wants is to be on this path of transformation and healing. So for this healing to come to my heart, I also saw that I needed to give the right conditions, the right environment, and the right watering. And in that case, that was talking with this man. And breathing was whatever was coming up. And what I realized is that that suffering that my father had gone through was exactly the same that I was going through as a child also. That he had fears, he had feeling of not being loved, being unsure, uncertain of himself, lack of confidence. And so he maybe put up something that I felt as being controlling, manipulating, too strict, or something that come out of that. And that created fear in me, and a feeling of unsafety, a feeling of not being loved, also unprotected. And that because of that, I was reacting maybe in a very rebellious way and rejecting him, that was creating more suffering for him. So we were in this kind of like vicious cycle, just watering each other's suffering over and over again. And when I saw that, it was very interesting, because just seeing it, it was just like poof. It was just, it was just like, gone at that time, at that very moment. It was like all this fear that I had, all this suffering I had, was like liberating one part of my mental formation, one part of my mind, one part of my wounded child was being freed just by seeing it and recognizing what was actually happening. And also recognizing that my dad had suffering, but my dad also had all this love. That my dad was not one or the other, but they were very much together, and that he transmitted everything to me. And it's up to my diligence of watering the good seeds, watering the seed of love, of understanding, that I continue his career of love or not, or I continue his feeling unsafe and feeling afraid and unsure, and maybe controlling sometimes, and creating more suffering for other people. So it's like I'm not a victim anymore. I can choose where I want to go. If I water the right seed through my daily practice, through being together with the Sangha, through letting the Sangha take care of me. Sometimes we can take care of ourselves, but sometimes it's also difficult. When there's a lot of suffering that is there, it's nice to just let it for the Sangha to take care of. When we eat breakfast together, and if there's something that is there, and we know that other people are chewing mindfully chewing the breakfast. And it's beautiful. We take refuge in the mindful chewing of other people. And when we walk together, we also take refuge in the stability and freedom that other people are generating. And so like that is, I give also my heart to the Sangha, for the energy of mindfulness of the Sangha to come and transform and heal my heart. So that's why we emphasize a lot on the community in our tradition, to find people to practice with, to find companions on the path, to find friends with whom we generate the energy of joy, of happiness for each other's nourishment, and also to help take care of each other's suffering, so that we can walk together on this path, as they were chanting this morning. So the Sangha and the environment. It's a very beautiful environment for us to be able to transform. So I wrote this letter to my father. And it was funny, because when I sent it to him, I didn't really expect any answer from him. And I think I wrote it for myself more than for him, actually. It was more for my own, and for him inside of me. Him inside of me was already changed. It was already changed. And he felt very close. So I'm not really expecting anything from outside. I really enjoy this practice of writing letters, to write love letters, our insights, our what we realize in our practice, small things that we see that liberates a little part that make ourselves a little bit more relaxed. And we share them with our family members, and we write love letters, whether it's to our parents, to our children, to the people in our government, to the people that the teachers of our children, to water the good seeds in them and tell them that we're also there for them, that we know that it's not easy sometimes, but that we know that together we can transform and we can heal together and come back to that we can come back home. I wanted to ask the sisters to come and sing a song. I don't know if there's enough time. I didn't see Sister Mai Nghiem. Where is she? Yes, they're coming. Dear brothers and sisters, there's this one song that I feel it's the coming together of all the 16 exercises that one of our sisters wrote. And I wanted to ask the sisters to come up maybe and sing it for us all to conclude the talk.
Breathe and you know that you are alive. Breathe and you know that all is helping you. Breathe and you know that you are the world. Breathe and you know that the flowers breathing you. Breathe for yourself and breathe for the world. Breathe in compassion and breathe out joy. Breathe and be one with the air that you breathe. Breathe and be one with the river that flows. Breathe and be one with the earth that you tread. Breathe and be one with the fire that glows. Breathe and you break the thought of birth and death. Breathe and you see impermanence is life. Breathe for your joy to be steady and calm. Breathe for your sorrow to flow away. Breathe to renew every cell in your blood. Breathe and renew the depth of consciousness.